There's a conversation unfolding beneath the headlines in Los Angeles. The Chargers are building a defense designed to hold up, but a few decisions could still decide who controls Sundays. Curious, a young corner is stepping into his prove-it year. One bold phone call could shake up the market. The leader of the secondary just received major recognition, and the new coordinator is carrying a bet nobody inside the building can ignore. Those signals are starting to overlap, and that's where the behind-the-scenes picture gets really interesting. Hit like, subscribe, and let's break down how far this plan could take the Bolts in 2026. Before going outside the building to search for a star, there's a quiet development inside it. Thoughtful. Hart enters year 3 with an opportunity very few fifth-round picks get this early. The chance to go from an intriguing bet to someone the front office can picture at the heart of this defense for years. His journey explains why this evaluation matters. Hart left good counsel as a 3-star wide receiver, changed positions at Notre Dame, and had to wait after an injury. The breakthrough arrived in 2021. 13 games, 42 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions. His size and physical style kept evaluators interested even after the numbers dropped. Joe Hortiz found him in the 5th round in 2024, the same class in which Los Angeles drafted Tarheeb Still. 2-day 3 picks, 2 swings with risk attached. Both showed early that something was there. Hart started 6 games as a rookie, recorded 37 tackles, and didn't back down against high-level receivers. Availability was the question. In 2025, he answered it by appearing in 16 games, making 6 starts, intercepting 1 pass, breaking up 11 more, and finishing with 48 tackles. Then comes the part discussed inside meeting rooms. Hart will carry a $1.075 million base salary in 2026 and a $1.165 million cap hit, according to SpotTrack. Growing production at that price creates value, but it also raises expectations. Year 3 needs to bring consistency, health, and confidence in a coverage system that demands constant communication. I love this kind of behind-the-scenes story because it shows how strong rosters are sustained. Not every answer arrives through a blockbuster trade. Sometimes the answer is already practicing in your building, learning how to turn length, strength, and competitiveness into stability. If Hart keeps progressing, the Chargers won't simply have hit on a late-round pick. They'll have found a defender who can withstand the season, grow alongside Still, and let the staff attack more aggressively without exposing the back end. But trusting your own development can't close the door on a major conversation. And there's one name Joe Hortiz should at least put on the table with Pittsburgh, Highsmith. This isn't about desperate need. Tuli Tuipulotu has already become a foundational piece. Khalil Mack still changes how an offensive line prepares. Bud Dupree brings experience, and first-round rookie Akeem Masitter arrives with an exciting ceiling. But study this roster like an executive trying to survive January. Mack is taking his career one season at a time. Dupree is moving toward the final stretch of his deal. Masitter still needs to prove how his college production will translate to the NFL. Depth today doesn't erase vulnerability tomorrow. Highsmith is interesting because he wouldn't be a decorative name in the rotation. He's an established edge defender who can pressure the quarterback, set the edge against the run, and win without needing a call designed specifically to free him. He led Pittsburgh in sacks last season. That also explains why the Steelers would have no reason to make a deal easy. So where does the opening come from? Roster math. Pittsburgh has TJ Watt, Highsmith, Nick Herbig, and Jack Sawyer in the same outside linebacker room. Herbig has produced when given opportunities, and at some point the franchise may have to balance snaps, future contracts, and the resources committed to one position. Maybe that door is shut. Maybe the cost is too high. But an aggressive front office doesn't guess what the answer will be. It calls, listens, and finds out where the line is. In Los Angeles, Highsmith could play opposite Tuli, share the workload with Mack, and allow Chris O'Leary to move his pass rushers around without revealing the matchup he wants. Mesidor could develop without immediately taking on a veteran workload. Mack would be fresher for the downs that decide games. When protection slides one way, technique and power would be waiting on the other side. 4-man pressure speeds up throws and protects the secondary. Pittsburgh would obviously demand real value for a productive starter. Los Angeles shouldn't tear apart its future or pay as though he were the only possible answer. Any package of picks would have to respect the investment already made in Mesidor. The question inside the building is what it's worth to remove a weak point before an injury exposes it in the middle of a playoff run. I'd make the call. No theater, no impulsive offer. Just find out whether there's an opening. The AFC punishes teams that confuse patience with paralysis. If Highsmith is out of reach, Hart sticks with the plan. If Pittsburgh shows any flexibility, that conversation could change the entire shape of the Chargers' pass rush. While a possible addition requires investigation, Derwin James needs no secret introduction. The recognition came from outside the building, but it confirms what you can feel on the field. He remains the nerve center of this defense. Entering his 9th season with the Chargers, Derwin was the team's highest-ranked player on Pro Football Network's Top 100 and the #1 safety on the list. The evaluation cited his 88.5 PFN SAF impact score, the best in the NFL in 2025. His 87.0 coverage grade led all safeties, while his 86.0 score against the run ranked 3rd at the position. This isn't a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's a measure of what he's doing right now. The resume is already heavy. The 17th pick in 2018, a 5-time Pro Bowler, and a 4-time All-Pro, including 3 selections over the last 4 seasons. He also matched his career high with 3 interceptions. For anyone still anchoring the conversation around his old injury concerns, James has missed only 8 games over the last 5 years. He turns 30 next month, the age that automatically starts the decline debate. The film points somewhere else. James anticipates, he communicates, he steps into the box, covers space, and helps everyone around him play faster. That intelligence doesn't fit neatly into a box score, but it changes a coordinator's confidence when an offense shifts its look before the snap. Now put all of that into the transition to Chris O'Leary. The new coordinator knows the secondary and understands Jesse Minter's system. Having Derwin as an extension of the staff cuts through the noise that comes with a coaching change. He organizes coverages, disguises intentions, and corrects details on the fly. For Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still, it's like playing next to a manual that talks, reacts, and still comes downhill to hit somebody. The ranking is deserved, but it can't become nothing more than a July celebration. If the best safety on the list is in Los Angeles after one of his most complete seasons, this defense has the foundation to stay ambitious. Derwin raises the ceiling and gives O'Leary freedom. What the coordinator does with that freedom is where this whole story gets more tense. Inside the hallways, nobody is asking whether Chris O'Leary knows the blueprint. He worked with the Chargers safeties in 2024, coordinated and called plays at Western Michigan last season, and now returns to replace Jesse Minter, who took over the Baltimore Ravens. The uncomfortable question is whether he can create pressure with the same efficiency when the game demands answers without the blitz. Minter built a complex, zone-heavy defense, but his most valuable trick may have been up front. Even with the NFL's 6th lowest blitz rate, Los Angeles finished 13th in pressure rate and tied for 10th in sacks. Confusing the quarterback and speeding up the play with 4 rushers will be O'Leary's test. The warning comes from 2025. Mack injured his arm in Week 2, played 12 games, and finished with 5.5 sacks and 11 quarterback hits after recording 6 sacks in 2024. His pressure numbers stayed steady, but he's entering his 13th season at age 35. Hoping for a bounce back is reasonable. Building the entire plan as though it's guaranteed would be playing with fire. Last season's trade for Odafe Oweh solved part of the problem. He brought power alongside Mack and Thule and helped Minter create intentional combinations within those non-blitz fronts. Oweh didn't stay. Los Angeles brought Mack back and used the 22nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft on Akeem Mesidor instead of betting on an extension for the former Raven. Mesidor could replace the power that left and bring even more alignment versatility. The risk is the clock. O'Leary needs to learn early how much the rookie can handle, where he wins best, and how to fit him next to Thule without turning every 3rd down into an on-field lesson. At the same time, Tuipulotu needs to repeat last season's production. Any drop from him, combined with limitations from Mack, would leave the rotation dangerously dependent on immediate development. That's where Highsmith gains context and stops looking like another famous name thrown onto a wish list. A call to Pittsburgh would reduce the uncertainty. If there's no deal, O'Leary will have to create stability through alignments and snap distribution. Derwin can hold the disguises together, but coverage and pass rush work as partners. When one side takes too long, the other gets exposed. I'll be watching 3 signals in camp. Mesidor working from different spots along the front, Mack being saved for high-value situations, and O'Leary creating pressure without showing the blitz before the snap. Those details will say more than any optimistic press conference. Open up the war room in the comments. Which of those 3 signals are you watching first when camp begins? And I'll tell you this transition is where inheritance becomes authorship. Copying Minter would be a mistake. O'Leary needs to preserve the principles, adjust the front, and find his own answer for Oweh's departure. If Messidor is ready, Thule sustains his leap, and Mack is used intelligently, this bet could explode in the Chargers' favor. If one pillar gives way, the cost will show up against quarterbacks who don't give you a second chance. That means this defense will be decided by what O'Leary can hide, what Hart is still considering on the market, and how quickly a rookie becomes an answer. The front office has options behind the scenes. The field wipes away every excuse. Los Angeles has the pieces to remain dangerous. Now those pieces have to be arranged in the right order. The picture is clearer now. Cam Hart represents the value growing inside the building. Alex Highsmith would be the bold conversation that could protect the rotation. Derwin James is the intelligence holding everything together. And Chris O'Leary owns the responsibility of turning those pieces into real pressure. I don't want a defense living off the memory of what Minter built. I want a unit that uses that foundation to create an identity that's even harder to decode. Subscribe to follow every signal, because in Los Angeles, the next move could begin far from the cameras and show up violently on Sunday.